Hello, phono friends. Don Wilson here for another exciting edition of As the Record Turns. One of the questions that's come up several times is if I can take a original disc, mold it, and then reproduce copies of it that way, then what about a stamper? Because making a silicone mold of a stamper is going to result in copies of the stamper and not a positive image that can be played on a standard turntable. So I happen to have a stamper here, and I set aside some time the past couple days to make this video for you. So let's get started, and I'll show you how we can make a disc from an old stamper. Now this is fun. It's shiny enough that you... Hi! I can see you. Anyway. Stampers come in two flavors. They come in either this thin nickel Thunder machine type, or they also come in this the same nickel plate, which is made during the electroplating process, that is then soldered onto a steel backing plate, which usually weighs several pounds. The process is the same regardless. The first thing to do is to get it nice and clean. This one was in very good condition, so I simply cleaned it with some isopropyl alcohol and some lint-free shop towels. Then after it's nice and clean and dry, the second step, very important step, is to apply a mold release. Polyurethane is a very strong adhesive, and if one does not apply the proper mold release, then they're going to be in some serious trouble. So I'm always very hesitant to make product recommendations. None of these companies give me anything. As a matter of fact, I give all of them a lot of money. So I am going to make an exception this time, because there really is only one product for this application. If anybody knows of another, I would love to know. But every forum that I've looked in that pertains to mold making, I've only found one product that people use to keep polyurethane from sticking to a textured metal surface, and that is, that's this. It's Man Ease Release 200. I have no affiliation with them. Don't even like giving product recommendations, so if anybody knows of another product, I would love to know of another one. Anyway, so read the instructions on the can, give a good spray coat over the disc, and then also what I like to do is to spray some on one of these nice foam brushes, and then to press in and evenly make sure that it is applied all over. It's easy to see if it's over applied. If the gloss is taken off of the surface, then there's too much that has been applied. Wait several minutes and then do the whole process over again, making sure that you can see this slight oily, waxy film that's spread across it, and then allow it to dry. After that has dried, ever so gently fill in the part of the stamper that would have had the spindle hole, fill that in with clay. And then also, this is, it's very shallow. This would, the lip on this would not allow to hold enough resin to make a disc. So around the edge, we're going to build up around the perimeter with more clay, and then it will be ready to hold enough resin to be able to actually make a disc. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a molded disc. There's clay built up around the edges to hold the polyurethane in place. Also, a bit of clay on the back. I flattened that out on the inside. And now we're ready to remove the clay and to ever so gently separate the polyurethane from the stamper. So literally just a couple minutes later, here we have them separated. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you the process because I only have two hands and one's holding the phone. The polyurethane is, you just get your fingernails in between and ever so gently work around the edge and lift the polyurethane off the stamper. The stamper has a pretty slick surface to begin with, and as previously mentioned, with a proper application of mold release and really working it in with the foam brush made this release clean. What you don't see here is that I did take a moment to shine this up a little bit with a rag. There was some of that mold release still on it. So all that's left now is a little edge cleanup, which I suppose would be optional, but it'll be nice to make this a little cleaner around the edges. And then, of course, to center and drill a spindle hole. So now we're down in the workshop. We've done a little edge cleanup with a standard aluminum file. You can tell it's fairly coarse, has this nice rounded edge. It does really clean cuts on soft materials such as vinyl and polyurethane. So that got us a half decent looking edge. This is just an experiment, so I'm not going to get sick over it. And use this little compass to center the spindle hole. Pressed in the middle, so we have a spot, and now we're ready to drill the spindle hole with the drill press. Okay friends, so we've cleaned up the stamper, we've put some clay around it, cast in some polyurethane, let it cure, gently peeled it out, did a little edge cleanup, centered the spindle hole, and now we're ready for a play. The total time invested in this is probably about an hour and just a couple dollars worth of materials. If we wanted to put a couple more hours into it, we could get better edge cleanup and a perfectly centered spindle hole. But if the goal is to preserve the sound that's on the stamper, I feel this is more than adequate. And let's put the needle on the record, and you can be the judge.
All the boys are jealous of me, 'cause I never take her where the gang goes, where they take my sugar to tea. I'm a rowdy dowdy, that's me. She's a high-hat baby, that's she. So I never take her where the gang goes, where they take my sugar to tea. Every Sunday afternoon, we forget about our cares, rubbing elbows at the wrist with the millionaires when they take my sugar to tea. I'm as risky as can be, 'cause I never take her where the gang goes, when I take my sugar to tea.